Welcome back, folks. Before we go on, I just want to check on some sports stats, keep myself sharp here on the sports, and I'll use my computer and just go in here, and I'm going to check. Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Was that Cole Campbell I heard in the background there?
No. That was, and it's playing through a weird speaker there, so I don't even know what to tell you.
Welcome to
Too Much to make his way onto most of our programming at some point. So I look forward to Cole Campbell.
It'll be around.
Dylan, KJ, how we doing?
Man, I'm just taking in this volleyball semifinal over here. Texas versus San Diego.
Emphasis on semi.
They're pretty good, Dave.
Unfortunately,
Jermaine O'Neal's daughter plays for Texas, by the way.
Ooh, long rumored to be a Mav.
She's pretty good.
Jermaine, not his daughter.
Malice at the Palace participant.
He sure was. Yeah.
One of the most devastating basketball fight punches you'll ever see thrown. That if that connected, Lord, that would have been some manslaughter, I have to say.
Lord, carry him now to keep the Mavericks tie in there. I want to acknowledge the volleyball tournament as I was keeping track, hoping that the Wisconsin Badgers volleyball team was going to be present. They lost, I believe, in the quarterfinals. Tremendous volleyball team. I think they're ranked number 1. I think they lost to maybe Virginia. Could have that wrong. But I'll have to catch a match next year.
We talk all the sports here, man.
Boom. That's all segment.
Off limits.
Book it.
These guys are crazy. We got a big show. We've got a special guest that we'll introduce shortly. But before we do y'all mind if I talk about our good friends at DraftKings?
I would enjoy that. Yeah.
The weather's cooler, the days are shorter, and it's the holiday season, which means spending time with friends and family. Thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook, today's video sponsor and an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you've got plenty to keep you and your company entertained. New customers who sign up for DraftKings using our promo code WASHED and bet at least $5 on any pregame moneyline football wager will get an additional $150 in free bets if their bet wins. You heard that right. All new customers who bet at least $5 on any pregame moneyline bet will get an additional $150 in free bets if their bet wins. Plus, with same-game parlays, you can combine multiple bets from the same game to give yourself a shot at even bigger winnings. For those in a state where sports betting is not yet available, don't forget about DraftKings Daily Fantasy, where they've been innovating even more ways to win some cash throughout the season. DraftKings has been around for a while, so you know your funds are safe and can be withdrawn whenever, wherever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code WASHED and receive $150 in free bets if their bet hits after placing a $5 pregame football wager. That's promo code WASHED only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Oh, man, it's so cool. I don't have to read the copy anymore, and that's just all off the dome.
Hey, real quick, which Trump trading card are you guys copying? KJ? Uh-oh. Do we lose KJ?
KJ, we lost your audio, my man.
Your audio.
Oh, he's back.
I muted myself. You didn't lose me. I don't know how that even happened. I believe I'm going with the off-white Trump. I'm gonna come. I think that's what it says whenever you open the NFT. That's what I'm rolling with. Huh?
Do NFTs do sound? I don't know. I'm not the Wash Media personality who bought a Serge Ibaka NFT.
And it's just the whistle, the ref whistle, like checking him into the game, just the horn, him just drying his feet off the bench.
It's him checking in to use up some fouls. Yeah. I don't know, man. I like the one of him him like dove hunting or whatever he's doing. Seemingly,
is that real?
I don't know. No.
I just saw that one.
I don't think it's real.
Just saw that for the first time, and I'm just thinking, please be real, but there's no way it is. It's incredible.
I'll say this: he does have one that's not that different from Troy Aikman's early '90s Troy Aikman in a duster, like looking like a badass photo. And I'm like, you got to think this whole entire thing's a response to the recent polls with DeSantis. Like DeSantis ain't got trading cards. Like, unless he comes out with some like Mewtwo X-Men metallic shit, like, and there's our political seggy.
It feels like a desperation play, but who am I? Who am I to say? Oh, thank you, Michael. Hold on.
I love it.
That's a good comment. Thank you for that comment, Michael. You're doing well.
All
Should
right.
we bring on our guest?
Yeah. Why don't we do that?
If you are not familiar with the Gamblin Gauchos Twitter account, social account, you've probably seen them. If you follow Too Much Dip, we probably retweeted them because the guy who runs our Twitter feed is a huge tech guy, and we'll take any opportunity to post tech stuff. This is Kyle from Gamblin Gauchos. Let's bring him on to the stream. Kyle, what is up, man?
Hey, lads, how are y'all?
You're doing good, man.
It is jarring to have that perfect audio. Like, it's just, I know I've already talked about it off air, but man, look good, sound good, pod good. That's all they say, right?
Do our best.
Correct.
Well, I wish we were meeting you and calling on your services on a less somber week. One where we could just kind of bullshit and talk about, like, I don't know, my lengthy career as a Texas Tech Red Raider. But I'm glad that you're willing to join us to kind of talk through one of, if not one of the most influential coaches of the last 20 to 30 years from a head coaching standpoint. Obviously, you could throw Saban up there. And
Petrino.
The list, we'll get to him. I was going to go a different route, and I was like, there's no reason to even go that route. Sorry, Penn State. But yeah.
Okay.
Clearly one of the firebrands of the industry. So, yeah, what's the week been like for you from when you heard the news to all of the work you've had to do over the last handful of days?
Yeah, I guess before I get into it, I didn't know Mike Leach. I never met him, but everything I do know about him would lead me to believe he would not want us to be somber about this. And so we can keep it lighthearted and fun. But yeah, I heard from one of his former players Saturday or Sunday, basically saying that like it wasn't good and that he could use the prayers and everything. And so kind of was prepared for the worst, but man, like all corners of college football, even like schools that he didn't coach at, conferences he didn't coach in, everybody has a Mike Leach story or memory. And I guess because I'm sort of in the Texas Tech bubble, kind of didn't realize that other fan bases had the same type of appreciation for him. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I think we could. I don't know. Dylan's a Texas fan. Me, I'm a T-shirt Baylor fan. But like my friend, I lived in Lubbock for a couple of years. Got a bunch of friends who went to Tech, and I feel like no one didn't outside of like the James family. I feel like and whoever the Texas Tech. I don't know if it was the Board of Regents, whoever the chancellor, whoever didn't want to pay his ass. I feel like everybody liked Mike Leach.
Yeah.
I was just going to add to that, pretty much echo what Dave says. Like as a Texas fan, you tend to dislike all the coaches around you, especially, those in the state of Texas. Mike Leach was an obvious exception. Impossible guy to not like. And I have enjoyed, I mean, it's obviously very sad, but I have enjoyed all the videos and stories that are resurfacing this week. It's been really fun to watch and kind of walk down memory lane, all the Mike Leach stuff. So that's been fun.
Yeah, not to nerd out too hard, but he did more to fight sovereign immunity in Texas than I feel like anyone has done in 100 years, which is shocking.
Yeah. Not to get like overly political on here, but there was actually a candidate for state Senate. He was like running for the Libertarian Party, and he was a single issue candidate on all it was about sovereign immunity and the Mike Leach firing. And he didn't win, but I mean, yeah, like Mike Leach was getting his platform out there one way or another.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll echo the thoughts in terms of the other teams that have shown interest, like knowing that if I'm a Washington State fan, for example, like, he was there, he was successful, he built things up and then left for greener pastures. Like, obviously that wasn't his departure from OU, so to speak, like as an OC going head coach. Wasn't the situation from Tech to Washington State. And so Washington State was kind of singular in that fashion of like, he left us to go to the SEC. Like, you could see someone having some like ill feelings, but they were some of the first ones to like be out there and posting like their gratitude and their memorials. So like, it's just tremendous to see, like, having been on a team that was coached by Mike Leach for one season, an off season, and a summer. We talked about this a little bit on Monday. You know, I didn't go into any like personal stories, and I'm not going to like dive too deep here because I feel like it would be a disservice to like any of the other players that played with them for an extended period of time or played quarterback around him or anything like that. You know, I could tell you more in depth about the strength about Benny Wiley or about Lincoln Riley as like the scout team coach or, you know, my position coach playing defense. But I will say, even with that perspective, being freshman coming in there as like a preferred walk-on, you're on a team of 115 people, you know, training staff, weightlifting staff. Essentially, this guy, aside from like the AD and like director of football operations, you know, he's in charge of 200 some odd people making the final decisions. And randomly one day, back when the facility was set up kind of in quadrants, you had like meeting rooms on the back left, weight room across from that, locker room, and then training room, and a huge center corridor. I'm like crisscrossing from one or the other, like going from training room to workout or something. And Mike Leach is like kind of head down, looking at papers, just kind of walking past. And again, being 18 and a half and like not even cracking the top 115 of that 116, you know, roster. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna get where I'm going, shuffle along, maybe nod hello. And all years, hey, Ellis, good job coming down on whatever coverage that was yesterday in film, like in whatever segment, like knew it immediately, knew who I was, knew what play he was talking about. And you hear about, you know, those Tiger Woods of the world, like people who know like every exact detail of something that occurred, some minute detail. But for him to do that, and then again, that's really flimsy to point out, but like it just shows you how engaged he was in what he did, and knowing what that would mean to the people around him. So that was significant. But then being around for the origin of like Swing Your Sword was really, really funny, because it came after Tech basically had like a $3 million loss, if you want to call it that. The year I was there, Texas Tech went, I want to say 10-2 regular season, and then lost in the Cotton Bowl in 2005 to Alabama. But one of their losses was to Texas, because Texas was, I want to say, Vince Young year, maybe. I'm doing the math right. In the other loss, they gave up 100 yards rushing to 2 running backs and to the quarterback from Oklahoma State. And the next day in that building was absolute hell, because Texas was going to be in the BCS championship or whatever championship game. So Tech would have risen to whatever bowl that Texas should have been in had they not been in the title game. And losing Oklahoma State took them out of that picture completely. So it was just terrible. And the meeting room was just dog silent. And he comes in there and brings up this whole, you know, if you're Pirates on the board and you're coming out there and you're just moving around with like your little pinwheel sword like this, it's like that, you know, and then kind of it just spun into this whole thing, because there was nothing Pirate, you know, related whatsoever associated with the program at that point. So it was just weird how much that grew and then, you know, became an identity 20 years later or whatever. So cool to have a front row seat, but I would be lying to say like I had the level of intimate detail, like spending 5 or 6 or 7 years in Lubbock and seeing what that meant years later. So
KJ, do you think Urban Meyer, had you walked by him, would have handled that situation the same way? Just curious, your thoughts.
I can't say that he would have. I can guarantee he probably wouldn't have tried to kick me. That wouldn't have turned out well for either of us. But I can say that like June Jones, for damn sure, like equally offensively oriented, and just as much of a chill ass bro, if you will. And he would be very comfortable just being like, I won't talk to anybody except for the quarterback within a day, and I'll be just happy about it. But he won't be an asshole to anybody either, so you don't care.
Makes sense.
Kyle, what has it been like, I guess, for the position the program's in right now and something like this happens? Do you think things would have been a little bit weirder, like having a year with like David Wells or, you know, heaven forbid, a Tuberville or somewhere where I feel like the program is in much more disarray than where they are right now, and this happens?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still it's a small group of people, but you still have folks that are mad about the Leach firing and like demanding that he gets paid some money and stuff like that. But having said that, I mean, Joey Maguire's approval rating is through the roof, and so yeah, if we're coming off another like 4-8 Matt Wells season,
Matt Wells, sorry.
yeah, it would be brutal right now. But yeah, David Wells is the guy who got drunk and threw a perfect game.
That's right.
Matt Wells made some decisions that made me wonder, but I don't think he ever showed up to a game in that condition.
David Wells, noted trash body, Dylan.
But
that is true, Dave.
It would be rough right now if Mike Leach passed and we were like 13 years after his dismissal and like still didn't have, a winning season in conference play and all that. So thankfully, Joey Maguire kind of aided some of that.
I made the mistake of going down the wormhole, and I can't even remember the guy's name. Might have even crossed paths by like a few months. Major donor, Cody, what's his last name? Campbell. I didn't realize how online this guy was. Like, I've seen the press releases, Cody Campbell, and I just focus on Cody gives $25 million. And I'm like, it'd be real badass to be named Cody and just have $25 million laying around.
That's very West Texas.
Like
millionaire named Cody.
I guess how involved, like contrasting with Texas, how involved do you feel like the booster scene is with Tech nowadays? Because that was not a non-factor to my knowledge in the past.
It definitely seems like it's picked up lately. I mean, so Cody Campbell and Dusty Womble are probably the two most prominent donors.
And The Departed?
I'm sorry?
I'm bullshitting. It just sounds like we were talking about a Red Dirt country band or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does kind of sound like that. But yeah, so Womble has the basketball practice facility named after him, and he's going to have the South End Zone facility that they're doing right now named after him. I think he's responsible for like two of the three largest gifts ever made, like at one time, and Cody Campbell has the other one. So it's actually Cody Campbell Field now because he gave, I think, $25 million last season. So yeah, they have a pretty active role. Womble doesn't as much dabble in the NIL stuff, but Cody Campbell and his friends started the Matador Club deal that pays all of our players scholarship and walk on. I think it's $2,500 a month or something like that. So yeah, they definitely seem a lot more active, and they're during those other coaching administrations that you mentioned, there didn't seem to be that much donor support or buy-in. And so I think McGuire's kind of gotten those guys energized, and definitely seems like there's more money pouring in nowadays.
KJ, any of your money going that way? Be honest. You have to tell us.
I don't know.
You're not sovereign immune.
It won't be my money. It'll be Uncle Joe's money if he ever cuts a damn check. But that's the only thing I'm sending out to West Texas, to my South Plains. It's not even South Plains, whatever, Great Plains lender or whatever. Last question I do have, looking forward, not to ask the David Ruff what's next in 2023 for Texas Tech football, but Dylan is like visibly antsy to get the hell out of the Big 12 representing Texas here.
Yeah.
What do you feel like Texas Tech's position in the conference is going to look like post OU Texas departure?
I think there's going to be a ton of parity in the Big 12. I think if you ask Texas Tech fans, they would tell you that we would have the potential to rise to the top for, all these different reasons. But I think if you asked BYU, UCF, Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU, they would all tell you the same thing too. And so I'm kind of ready to get rid of Texas and OU. I guess they bring more money to the conference, but I don't know. I don't think I'll miss them. And I think the fan base sentiment has sort of trended that direction lately. So they're talking on Twitter about, I guess they're moving up the timeline to 2024, but I'd be fine if the last game ever was this season's and, send them out on a high note and they'd never have to go down there again. So adios is my take on it.
What is the biggest, how do you, let's say you're Joey Maguire, you're recruiting. What is your biggest Lubbock selling point to an 18-year-old kid? Because it's my understanding that Nix is no longer around. Is that true?
Yeah, it's like under new management. Nix is there, but it's got a different name.
And it's a wet county now, so it's like completely, completely changed.
Since 2000.
Fill me in. Is that a strip club or something? I'm totally unaware.
No, it's a bar. There was a couple Knicks. There was one south of the Loop where I lived, and it's just like a
What?
big sports bar. And if you drove by it at any given time, there was like 8 F-250s backed in. Like no matter what time, like even if
Just
it was like 4 a.m.
square-toed boots. As far
Square
as the eye
toe
can
boots
see.
central at Knicks, just pounding wings and drinking draft.
Not
love
Luxor
that.
or Crystals, because this is sounds like a completely different demographic than Luxor and Crystals.
Hey, not to circle back on an old
Yeah.
topic, but wanted to get Dylan's thoughts on Mike Leach, because something we talked about on our podcast was like that he impacted different generations of fans. So like the people who were in school when Mike Leach was here have a certain perspective on him, but like people who graduated in the 80s have sort of a different take. And so I know Dylan is like a little bit older than the others. I want to see, like, what
Who
his
got
next-
who got to you?
Do
Was
what?
it Landry? Who got to you? Was it
What do you mean?
Gark? One of these guys.
This will only enhance his
Man.
followers.
I was like, you started that question. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him a really good answer, and then what you were doing there. Well played, sir. I'm gonna go with Landry. That got to you on that one. He likes to poke fun. Full disclosure, I didn't graduate from UT. Like Dave said about his Baylor fandom, I am also a T-shirt fan. I grew up in Austin. That's why I'm a
My
Texas
wife.
fan. But when I think of Texas, I mean to give you like an actual answer here, even though I don't know if that's what you were looking for.
We got to get one.
When I think of Tech, I think Mike Leach. Like that's like the face of the program for me. And I just like picture the we talked about this in the podcast the other day, like those like 58, 53, just Big 12, no defense, just shootouts. And Mike Leach on the sideline, just cooking up the next drive. That's what I think of. Yeah, a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, big Mike Leach guy. But thank
Michael
you for the-
Crabtree.
To make amends for calling you old, Dylan, I'll say that that 2008 season, I know we kind of like ruined y'all's national title hopes, but in all seriousness, in all sincerity, I think that the tiebreaker situation was bullcrap, and I think Texas should have gone to the Big 12 title game over OU, and I think they were the best team in the country that year. So I know Tech fans like to hang their hat on the fact that we kind of ruined y'all's season, but I actually think despite the loss, y'all probably should have still been there.
Yeah, I mean, so OU was obviously chosen to move on over Texas, and obviously on a neutral field that year, Texas beat OU. I think the 08 Texas team was better than the 09 Texas team that went on to play for the national championship.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. It's a nice little consolation prize. Blake Gideon, my God, cannot stand that guy.
Oh no, you brought it up, not us.
Shout out to Garrett
No.
Gilbert while we're at it.
Yeah,
My
shout out.
last
No,
question.
Shout out Garrett Gilbert.
Anybody
My
else?
last question on Texas Tech, real quick, is all year long we've been kind of tracking.
That's just Michael.
All year long we've been kind of tracking the downward or the down. I wouldn't say downfall, but it's gotten worse when it comes to teams rushing the field. And I will fully name drop familiarity with one Gap shirt guy, Vince Valdez.
Yeah.
I will also say that Tech kind of started the year off on a bad foot, put the year off on a bad note, rushing the field against Dana Holgerson. But do you feel that Tech is unquestionably the best at rushing the field? And or do you feel like some other teams need to tap the brakes on when and when not to rush the field?
Yeah, this is one of those things, like I have my opinion on it, and I think they probably shouldn't rush the field, but I also like I'm pushing 30, and so I realize that I don't really relate to the youth nowadays. And so
It's
I'm
not
like,
that old, man.
If they want to wear socks and Crocs and storm the field after beating Houston, I guess that's what they're doing nowadays. But yeah, I mean, it does kind of suck because like you want to go celebrate a win over Texas or OU on Twitter, and all their fans are just like, "Nice field storm, you idiots! Like, congrats on beating 3-2 Texas." So that part kind of diminishes it some. But yeah, I think if you storm the field 3 times in one season, you've probably overdone it a little bit. But in their defense, I know guys that were in school and like they did not see us beat a Big 12 opponent other than Kansas at the Jones, and so like they'd been starved for something like this, and they probably didn't think when we beat Houston that we were going to beat Texas and OU, and so they kind of shot their wad early on that. But hopefully, like in future seasons, there's this expectation that you might win some home games, and they don't do it like every single time. But yeah, I can acknowledge that's a little bit embarrassing.
How does that turf?
Uh,
I was just gonna say, how does that turf handle all those square-toed boots just stomping it out every home game, man?
Yeah, I don't know. Good ground screw, I guess.
I will skip mine because that's much more appropriate and better. You want to at least talk Bobby Petrino real quick before we do dip picks, David?
Just KJ, just go ahead and give us your favorite Bobby Petrino memory. Go ahead.
The press conference is everyone's favorite. Maybe his 7 days in Atlanta. But I will say my only personal note here is a coworker of mine, someone I've known for, I don't know, over a decade, is married to like the associate AD at UNLV. And I know from many conversations with her, they were previously at a place where Dana Holgerson was employed. And she can't stand him. I'm like waiting to fire off the text like, oh, you thought you had a fucking Fox in the hen house with old Dana as your head coach. Like now you've got Bobby Petrino on staff. Like what is going on here in Vegas?
Yeah.
So just looking for him
Vegas.
at the Cosmo soon.
My favorite Petrino memory is yet to come. Now that he's in Vegas, Las Vegas, Sin City, I think we're gonna something's gonna happen with this guy that's gonna outdo everything he's done in the past, and I can't wait for it.
I was hoping the rumors of him ending up in College Station were going to be true, because I was seeing a little bit of that. Because he's objectively a good offensive mind, and that's kind of where it starts and stops.
And a bad motorcycle driver.
He is.
And made the mistake of doing a press conference with a neck brace, which is just you never want to do it. Just don't do it. You don't have to go out there. Just issue a statement. You have a lawyer.
Did y'all see this tweet? It's like a gif of that Evel Knievel jump, that motorcycle in Vegas. And it was like Bobby Petrino arriving in Las Vegas. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. My
I'm looking
least
forward to
favorite.
over, like the Bellagio fountain or something.
Oh,
I think my least favorite writer, Brett McMurphy, called that shot a decade ago about Bobby Petrino doing a motorcycle jump in Vegas, and was happy to quote tweet himself today on that. So I'll at least tip my cap there. All right, let's get to what we all have been waiting for, especially David. I know you're thrilled and excited about this moment as we roll into dip picks. So while I'm pulling up my screen, why don't y'all just talk about sports or something real quick?
I got some NARP on Twitter coming at me about my my claim that I can throw a football 50 yards like Will Levis can. Just a total dork. Sorry.
50 yards.
Have y'all ever like timed your 40-yard dash in adulthood?
I'm so glad you asked this question. I saw that in the bio and I thought that was appropriate.
There's a video of Dave doing it actually. If you want to, we can probably find that.
I was flirting with sub 5, flirting with it, but it was a slow track. It was actually wet grass, and then I ate shit.
Was it wind aided or
crosswind? That a little left to right,
wind neutral. Yeah, I was talking a lot of noise about being able to run a sub 5 40 because I remember being timed at like 5.1 in middle school, and I was like, surely I could race a middle schooler and win, and I came in at 5.01. And then I was tired because I don't run. And so like 40 yards is all it took. And so I was like, all right, I'll just tap out there and say that I can like basically run a sub 540.
Yeah.
Well, it's timely that you brought it up because the bet payoff we have for this year's dip picks is I'm forgetting what the details are, but I know at least the loser and anyone who loses to the guest has to participate in a combine. And the Too Much Dip Combine, Wash Media Combine, we'll find a name. And that will definitely include a 40-yard dash. I actually have time edged out in the month of March to be physically present for this event. Hopefully not participating, but it seems like a possibility. As David has been on a keto regimen, real deep in his stretch game, it's likely to happen, picking at 36% on the year. Dylan's actually one game up on me in the year. I mentioned on Monday we were tied. You actually have 81. So let's dive in. Tonight's game, Niners at Seahawks. Seahawks are getting 3.5 at home. David.
Give me the Seahawks at home. We were talking before the show how the NFL slate, there's nothing about it this week that excites us.
No
and
good
kicking off with
quarterbacks.
I don't know. We'll see. It's the Brock Purdy show. It comes to an end tonight.
Dylan.
I agree with Dave here. I'm a big Geno guy. I think Seahawks cover this.
People often forget the one and only NFL game regular season that I've attended is a Thursday night game in Seattle. I will go with the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, no.
I guess I'll just fade the three of you and take 49ers just to be
I
different.
love that.
It's a
Love
good
it.
play.
I like it.
No matter what, unless you lose every game, you won't be the worst guest picker we've ever had.
Okay. I'll try.
I think we've had somebody only get one or two right from a guest spot. So let's go Roadrunners. UTSA versus Troy in the Duluth Trading Cure Bowl, which I think is somewhere in Florida tomorrow afternoon. Troy's favored by 1. Dylan.
I have not seen Troy play this year, full disclosure. I have seen UTSA play, and they're not bad. I'm going to go UTSA here.
I unfortunately have because I picked them to not cover like a 19-point spread in their conference title game, and they did. I'm going to take Troy. Wow.
I think it's borderline disrespectful that they're actually giving a point to the fighting Jeff Trailers. So give me Roadrunners +1.
He can coach.
That is true. David.
Yeah, they're like 45 minutes away from us, and I feel like they've got a good fan base. I don't know how well they travel, but I'm going to ride with the Roadrunners, UTSA.
Yeah, I should have said future Texas head coach Jeff Traylor.
Possibly.
On that note, and I don't want to dwell too much, but Mississippi State's decision to promote the DC to head coach that quickly, I get it. You've got to do some sort of stabilization, but I don't think giving an SEC job away to somebody who was present when I was throwing up in Hank Baskett's house in a visit to the University of New Mexico, I don't know that that's the right move. That's me just name dropping people all episode. But
Cool story.
I feel like he's going to be out in a year or two. That's a weird move by them. Incarnate Word at North Dakota State FCS semifinals.
Hey, calm down, Ethan.
Somebody didn't get accepted to UTSA. Give me North Dakota. Actually, give me the Word. Incarnate Word's quarterfinal game was quite a spectacle. They'll probably lose. I'll probably get this wrong, but I'll stick with UIW here. Kyle.
Yeah, so former Mike Leach wide receiver Eric Morris used to be the head coach at Incarnate Word, and I can't live with the idea that they're better off without him, and so give me the Bison -9.5.
Oh, Emo, now head coach at UNT. I forgot to mention that as well.
Mean Green.
David.
Let me flex a little knowledge. We've got down in San Marcos, we got the great GJ Kenny going to come turn the program around. Formerly coach at Incarnate Word. I'm going to ride with Incarnate Word. That's all I can tell you about that. And GJ Kenny, that and the fact that he looks like Tim Robinson. But yeah, give me Incarnate Word.
Dylan.
I don't know much about these two teams, but I do know that North Dakota State is in the Natty pretty much every year. So I assume they're going to dismantle anyone that's in front of them. I got them to cover this 9.5.
Not a bad pick. Florida, Oregon State. David's might be sneaky, entertaining to watch. Team of the year is favored by 10 in the Las Vegas Bowl. And I believe that's because we do not have Florida's quarterback playing. Anthony Richardson, I don't think is playing, but I could be wrong. Whatever. Kyle, you're up.
I think the Beavers are not used to a spot like this where they're favored by 10 versus an SEC squad. You have to think even with some opt-outs that Florida is more talented. And so I'll go with the Gators +10.
Oh, I don't know what the hell I just typed there. David.
I just read a headline that said Gators QB Jack Miller locked in more than ever ahead of first career start.
Yeah, you love
I thought the quarterback
that's
that
what
was
you-
Jack and got arrested. Anyways, go ahead.
That's okay. That's what you want to hear. That being
He's
said,
locked in.
I don't think
I
they
mean-
just do that when they set the line.
I know. They were like, this dude's definitely not locked in.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, shit. Give me Florida. Give me Florida getting 10. Keep it close. It's a bowl game. I mean,
Dylan.
Oh man, I don't have a good feel for this one. I'm gonna fade
The
Kyle
Vegas
for
Bowl,
the sake
baby.
of it. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna fade Kyle. I'm going Oregon State.
That's
you're
fair.
so money.
Give me Florida
So
because I
many
think
beautiful
Oregon
babies.
State's quarterback entered the portal, and I don't think he's one of those that's in the portal and playing. Give me Montana State at South Dakota State, the other FCS semifinal. Jackrabbits are favored by 5.5. Dylan or David, I'm sorry.
I'm looking at the picks I made in my Pick'em League. And it says here I took South Dakota State. That's the game we're picking, right? Yeah, this is a game that I will watch if I am by a television Saturday at 3. Maybe not actually. We got high school football. But either way, give me San Diego or whatever the fuck team that is. I don't care.
Dylan.
I don't follow the FCS too closely, but my gosh, the
No way.
Dakotas have an absolute stranglehold. What's going on here? God, the battle of the Dakotas. This is going to be exciting. Yeah, I have South Dakota for that exact reason and no other reason.
Yeah, give me the Jackrabbits here. I will be watching SMU dismantle future Big 12 opponent BYU in the Albuquerque Bowl at that time, but I will be taking San Diego State or South Dakota State. I did it too. Kyle.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of both of these squads this year, and I think the 5.5 number, Vegas is begging you to take the Jackrabbits. So give me Montana State plus 5.5.
There it is.
I like it. Okay, we have a questionably okay slate of football games from the NFL on Saturday as well, one of which is Saturday night Dolphins at the Bills. Bills are now favored only by 7. Dylan.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are on BF watch here. I got the Bills kind of running away with this one.
Oh man, bad football watch. Give me the Dolphins. Yeah, I'll call them the Dolphs. I can't type. Wow.
I don't like the flying Hawaiian going to Buffalo and playing this game outdoors. So, and he didn't look good in the dome last weekend. So, or on Monday Night Football. So, give me the Bills -7.
I didn't take weather into account. Great point, David.
You want that Saturday forecast?
It ain't good because it is snowy as F right now in Madison.
High of 32, low of 26. And KJ, it's looking like, are you going to be up there for Christmas? Because it's going to be cold, my guy.
Oh yeah,
boy.
I'm getting in single digits next week. I feel like I'm in high school all over again.
Okay.
Who are you taking?
Maybe go with the Dolphins. I don't know. You guys had some really compelling reasoning on why I should take the Bills. But I got to fade the guest. I got to make up some ground here.
Big footy lads, we'll take this as a pick 'em. Argentina, France. Who's up? I think this is me first. Yeah, give me hot ass Giroud in France. Wow.
So, a little bit of history knowledge for y'all. In 1978, Argentina hosted the World Cup, and their mascot that year was this little boy soccer player, and he was called El Gauchito. And so, as a Gaucho myself, I'm going to have to go with the Argentinian side on this one.
I like it.
I do remember that. I do. Dylan, you were there.
David.
Give me France to completely just ruin the legacy of Messi. And Will would want it this way. I think Will said he's watching. So yes, give me France, Mbappe. Look, I'm naming players. I'm clearly into footy.
Breaking news: Will be watching the World Cup final. Dylan.
People keep talking about the passing of the GOAT status from Messi to Mbappe, but the old man still got a few tricks up his sleeve on this one. I got Argentina.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
It's like some solidarity there from Dylan.
Oh,
He told you at the
Thank
meeting.
you, Kyle.
Got the old
We're
guys.
never having Kyle back on, by the way. Kyle's done here.
I figured that was the case. Coming
Let's
in, so I'm
see.
just letting it fly.
Sunday at noon, Cowboys, Jags. This probably doesn't even belong on here, but I added it anyway because Jaguars are going to fuck shit up. I'll even hop in and just say I'm taking the Jags +4. Kyle.
Yeah, the Jags have looked good lately. I'm going to go emotional hedge because I'm in a Discord server with a lot of Cowboys fans, and so I'll take Cowboys -4 and hope that they maybe don't quite play that well.
All right, I don't have to add that, I guess. David.
Wishful thinking, but I'm feeling a bounce back game from the offense from Dak after just what was an embarrassment, as we discussed. Give me the Cowboys. This should be high scoring, though. We'll see.
Dylan.
I'm on the Cowboys for one simple reason, and that reason is the Jaguars stink, baby.
Boo, nobody wants to hear that mess.
Whoa, dude.
Bengals.
Come on, guys.
Bengals, Bucks. Bucks are getting 3.5 at home Sunday afternoon. Kyle, I think you're up here.
Yeah, the Bucks are terrible, and the Bengals are on a roll lately. So I'll take Joe Burrow and the Bengals -3.5.
Davide.
Yeah, the Bucks are an absolute disgrace right now. Terrible team. You talk about the Cowboys offense looking bad. Woof. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, Brady is cooked, and Burrow's starting to get it cooking. That was a really bad sentence right there. Yeah, I'm on the Bengals.
I'm just going to take the Bucks to fade, but I don't disagree. I think this helps put the Falcons in a position to make Desmond Ridder a playoff quarterback. Giants Commanders Sunday Night Football. This has a lot of playoff implications. It will matter. NFC East, not so much, but wild card for sure. David.
Give me the New York Football Giants. I don't really care. I mean, this is just, I don't care.
Yeah, this line feels a little high to me. I think this is going to be a field goal game. I got the Giants here.
Give me Heineke, man, to buy some real generic Jordans in blue and red after this. So, Commanders.
This number is hideous. I feel like I cannot win this bet. But yeah, I'm not a believer in the Giants, so I'll trail you and take Commanders -4.5. But I feel terrible about it.
All right, so let's wrap things up with our big boy stacks. Who has one ready?
I got one ready.
Go ahead.
We mentioned the weather situation in Buffalo. The Dolphins struggling as of late. I think it's going to be a fairly low scoring game. The over/under is 44 points. And I'm taking the under in that game.
BF, MI, under 44.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
That's how you abbreviate Buffalo and Miami. David, you have yours?
Getting big.
Thank you, Ethan. No, I'm not taking I am privately taking the Panthers, but I will not. I'm not going to.
We'll allow you to take it straight up. We'll offer that as an available take.
Do it, Dave. Look how far behind you are. Just take it
straight up.
Give me the Panthers of Duncanville finally getting over the hump, taking down North Shore. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
It's
going to feel good.
Does that like compromise the integrity of the game at the high school level, making a play on that?
This is all hypothetical.
Okay.
David won't be on the sideline that we know of this time, so who knows? Kyle, do you have yours?
Far away from that.
Yeah. So interesting NFL schedule. There's some Saturday games. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings are alone on Saturday at noon, and nobody ever lost money betting against Kirk Cousins in primetime. So give me Colts +4.
Colts +4. Wow. Okay.
I like it.
Don't know which button is which. Okay. Also, Saturday afternoon, I've already talked about it. SMU will be in Albuquerque playing BYU. SMU's favored by 4 here. But what they're not talking about is that I don't think SMU is going to cover that. Rashee Rice is not playing. He's rightfully preparing for the draft. We will win, but it will be a necessary late come from behind win. Give me BYU +4.
Mm.
All right.
I like it.
Where can the good people find you, Kyle?
Yeah, we're all over. Our handles on everything is at Gamblin Gauchos. Like you said, mostly a Texas Tech podcast, but we talk Big 12 and some other stuff. So any listeners that might want to partake, we do about 2 episodes a week, putting out more stuff on YouTube as well. So would love to have everybody join us wherever they can find us.
Kyle, I've reached my quota for Texas Tech content on the TL. I follow way too many Red Raiders. Having said that, I'm still going to give you the follow.
Wow.
Appreciate that.
That's big. Dylan doesn't follow
Big
just
time.
anybody.
That's good.
That's
If
right. Thank
anything,
you,
that
David,
will
for
give you
letting me know.
capacity to get rid of Aztec guy. I think that's what you can rightfully do if you hadn't already.
He's been muted since the Texas Tech game this year. So, and I have no plans to unmute him anytime soon.
Hey,
especially now with the Chris Beard stuff going on.
Kyle, can you answer this real quick? Has anybody you know or you yourself considered getting some sort of pirate tattoo in tribute? Because I feel like I would do that if I was a Red Raider fan.
I mean, if anybody would consider it, it's probably Aztec guy. But
makes sense.
I know at least a couple people with a cactus tattoo. And so I'm sure there's going to be a pirate tattoo of some sort in the works.
Okay, good. Just I want to put that out there. Send Dylan pics if y'all get them.
As somebody who went to law school at Texas Tech, are you considering that for yourself?
No. That's I just lived there. Okay. Landry had that backward.
Just tortilla with a tortilla on a scale there.
That's.
Anyhow, let's get out of here. Really appreciate your time, Kyle. Phenomenal work.
Yeah,
phenomenal
thanks, Kyle.
internet connection. Just great all around.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
With that said, get the hell out of here.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips